Okay. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know how to make a title for it using the laptop. So just bear with me. I've just got a few messages wanting to join, but please say hello. I've not done lives on the laptop before, so I'm a little bit not sure how to see the comments. Oh, I can. Hi, Lucy. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes for people to log in. I think I've had a couple of messages. Oh, live now. So hi everybody, thank you for joining. Da, da, da. Hi Katie. Oh, where I am. Thought I'd use a laptop for a change. Um, so I'm just struggling a little bit here. But I'm ready to rock. So we'll just give it another minute or so and then we will begin. Oh, I wonder if that's where you do the title. Okay, so I really want people who are watching to use the comments to speak up, to interact as much as possible. That would be great. So do use the comments as much as you can. And what this talk is going to do is just introduce myself and let you know what you can expect on the 6 weeks mindfulness course that's going to start from next week. So it's a bit of information, and I thought it would be nice to get to know who you're going to be working with for the next 6 weeks. So let's give it another moment or so, and then we'll begin. I don't want to keep you all too long. So my name is Sarah, for anybody who doesn't know me, and I am a yoga teacher and I'm a mindfulness teacher outside the cave in Edwinstone. So we are a community wellbeing centre, and we've delivered mindfulness courses face to face in a 9 weeks mindfulness course, and I've delivered these to the general public. And then we've gone into other settings. We've been in schools, we've been in colleges, we've worked with services such as rehabilitation services. So we've reached a lot of people with the mindfulness course. And you might have noticed, so the price of the 6 week mindfulness course is £40, and you might have noticed that's quite low for a mindfulness course, and that's because we are a non-profit organisation, and we are funded by the National Lottery. So a lot of our courses are heavily subsidised, which is why we can provide them at really low cost and allow loads of people to access it. Some of the courses you see can be up to sort of £300 for an 8-week course, and they're worth it. You know, the information and techniques and tools that you can learn from this are priceless. They can change your life. So it's always worth it, but it's good that you've that you've found outside the cave who can offer this at a much lower price, and we do really want to help everybody. So that's a little bit about us, and you can look on our website to see the other sort of services that we offer. So me personally, for mindfulness, I started off, I was actually just doing it personally in my own life, practicing meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and I was a teacher, and I taught English in college, and I found that once I started seeing the changes that meditation and mindfulness brought to my life, I just really wanted to share that. I really wanted to pass those teachings on, that knowledge, and help people to improve their well-being, particularly emotionally. So that's what I was really sort of struggling with. And I had a lot of stuff to work through. And by far, out of everything I tried, mindfulness, meditation, has been what has got me to where I am today, and I'm so thankful that I have these practices in my life. So if anybody else has used mindfulness, please comment and share that, if what your own experiences are, if you meditate, if you're into the practices. I'd love to hear from you. So what I thought I'd do, I gave myself a few questions to follow so I don't go off track, because I can talk about this stuff forever. So I wanted to stay on track for you all. So I've wrote myself a few questions. And if you have any extra questions, then please just pop them in the comments and either I will answer them, or hi Daniel, hi Tara, hi Kirsty. Oh, I didn't realise there were so many comments. Yeah, either I'll answer them or somebody else in the comments might be able to, and I'll look through them properly at the end. So, first question, what is mindfulness? And again, if you've got your own definitions of what mindfulness is, pop that down in the comments. So, for me, mindfulness is learning to be here now, okay? And that might sound a bit like, so what's here now? But actually, everything is here now, okay? Our life is here now. Our peace is here now. But it is a practice. So we are very absorbed in our thoughts, in our mind activity. The future, which is a thought, the past, which are thoughts. And we're very absorbed and we're very reactive emotionally to these thoughts of past and future. So we miss the present moment. We devalue the present moment because we're always in the next moment, or we're dwelling in the past. So training ourselves to be present trains ourselves to be in reality, in real life, rather than absorbed in thoughts. And when we get here now, we find that 99% of our problems, of our suffering, are not here. They're not actually here. So training our attention to be here now, it is a practice. We need to learn how to do it. And also a big part of mindfulness is learning to detach and change our relationship with our thoughts and our feelings. So we take an observer position as opposed to being absorbed. We move from absorbing our emotions to observing them. And this is, oh, 1 minute, I think the video just went off. What happened? Oh dear. Okay. I can't see. I can't see the video. Can everybody else see the video? I've just saw myself on my phone like, what is happening? So can you still see? Right, I'm just going to talk to a black screen then. Not to myself. Okay, so if anybody knows how I can make my video come back on, I would really appreciate that. It just says, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. But I don't know what happened. But you can see me, so that's good. So I'm just going to talk to the blank screen. So we're moving away from, we're learning to stop absorbing all these emotions and being the emotion, into observing the emotions and recognizing that they are in our energy field, they're in our experience, but they're not who we are. And this is a real big part of mindfulness, that relationship change with our thoughts and feelings, because every negative thought and feeling that we have causes an emotional response, it causes an emotional reaction. And this is what leads to all of the anxiety, the sadness, the worry, the depression. And if we can change our relationships, our relationship with these negative thoughts, with these emotions, then we can actually change our life. We can change everything. So training ourselves to be present and changing our relationship and learning to detach from our thoughts and feelings. So a little bit of science, because this is something that I will go into more depth with next week when we start the course. But I just wanted to give you a little intro. It's really useful to know how the brain's working, and then you can recognize what's happening when you're in different mind states. So one part of the brain that's really important to understand is the limbic system, and this is our emotional thinking part of the brain. Yeah, so I'm just reading a comment about struggling to switch off the thoughts and be in the present. So this is a common issue that people have, but we're not actually aiming to switch off our thoughts. So it's a little misconception about having to clear the mind. That's not what we want to do. It's not about switching the thoughts off. It's about letting the mind do as it pleases, but we're not identifying with it so much. We're learning to stay with our anchor, with our present moment. And the less we care about that, the less impact it has on us, and we can take that into our day-to-day life. So it's not about switching your thoughts off, and you'll learn through some of the meditation techniques that we do on the course how joyful and nice it can be to meditate when we've not put that pressure on ourselves to quieten our mind or be in a certain Zen state. So the limbic system then, which is our emotional thinking part of the brain, is very strong. And we often try to fight it, we try to suppress it, we try to beat it, and we can't, because it's stronger than us. It's stronger than the higher part of the brain, which is what we would like to be operating from more often. So in the limbic system, as long as we're feeling good, as long as our emotions are happy and we're nice and peaceful, all of the information in front of you about certain situations is going up to our higher part of the brain, called the prefrontal cortex. And when the information is going up here, we get access to our executive functions, such as wisdom, compassion, logical thinking, calmness, rationality. We're creative, we're kind, we've got all that good stuff going on because we're in the higher part of the brain. Now, the minute that we have a stressful reaction, we have a part of the limbic system called the amygdala that goes, it reacts, and it says, uh-oh, and it shuts off our access to the prefrontal cortex. So the minute that we're in a stressful reaction, we haven't got access to any of those functions. We're stuck in our reptilian brain. We're stuck in, the old memories, the judgments, the emotional imprints, the traumas, everything, all that old stuff. We're stuck in it, and that's what we're operating from. So that's why we can't see that person's perspective in that moment, because we literally don't have access to the part of the brain that will give us that. So the limbic system, at this point, we might try to fight it, and there's no point. We've got to learn to understand that that's where we're at, and we've got to learn how to manage this emotional thinking part of the brain and get back up to using our executive functions as quickly as we can. So what mindfulness does, it becomes a little insert, okay? So we have this reaction, we have this stressful reaction. And if we're highly stressed, which a lot of society are, some chronically stressed, we're always operating from this limbic system, okay? Constantly. There's one stressful reaction after another. You know what it's like when things are stressful, the littlest thing can start us off again. So what will happen when you start to practice mindfulness is, if you imagine a situation occurs, and then you get your automatic emotional response to it. We start to insert mindfulness there, and we get to create enough space to choose a more conscious response. We get to insert mindfulness and communicate with the higher part of the brain to choose a conscious response. So we start to change the way that we respond to our stressful reactions. And it's really powerful. And it's not just for other people that it benefits, obviously, but the way that we think about ourselves and the way that we treat ourselves also changes when we intervene and insert mindfulness. So if you've ever read the chimp paradox, the emotional thinking is your chimp brain, okay? So it's your chimp brain, it's strong, it hijacks us. We need to learn how to manage that chimp. We need to learn how to manage, understand it, so that it's not hijacking us every 5 minutes. And this course will teach you how to do that. Prefrontal cortex, just talked about it. That's what we're going to be aiming to spend more time operating from and just using, and that's known as the adult brain in the chimp paradox. We want to be adults, we want to be calm, we want to be able to be mature emotionally and be able to deal with situations calmly and rationally. And that's what we can do when we start to access the adult brain more often. And again, that's what you're gonna learn to do. So one more little bit of science. The main science sort of backing up mindfulness is neuroplasticity. This teaches us that the brain can change, okay? This teaches us that we can impact the structure of the brain, we can create new pathways, new habits, we can practice until these new habits and new pathways are stronger and more dominant. And this will ultimately change our habits, our behaviours, the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we speak, and the way that we act, which will ultimately change our whole life experience. So there is evidence, there is science to prove that with repeated practice, this is possible. It is possible for us to improve our mindset, calm ourselves down, grow up a little bit on the emotional front. Which how how are we ever supposed to have done that when we're caught in the limbic system? We need space. We need the space and mindfulness to be able to show up, to take responsibility for our own happiness and make the changes that we need. So that's the science. I told you I keep talking. I'm glad I've got this sheet of paper to keep me on track, or you'd be here all night. So ultimately, mindfulness is going to give us the space to start to understand, befriend, and investigate a little bit our inner experience, so that it's not so scary, and we're actually a bit more curious about it than wanting it to just go away and us to escape everything. So another thing I just want to point out before I tell you what we're going to do on the course is about intention, okay? It's about having a clear reason why you want to do something. So if you want to change, if you want to start something or stop something or be something, it's really important that we get very clear of why. And this is because we have parts of the mind that sabotage us, don't like going out of the comfort zone, wants to take us back, comes in with these little thoughts, and unless we're really clear on this is why I'm doing this, we could quite easily be talked out of it. So I'd love if anybody knows already to hear, why are you here? Why do you want to do a mindfulness course? What do you want to see for yourself, for your life, for your well-being? And just get clear on that intention. And personally for me, I really wanted to be able to have healthy relationships. I wanted to be able to be comfortable in relationships. A lot of my reactions, emotional reactions and suffering was to do with relationships. And I remember at one point, I never even knew what it looked like to be healthy, to be happy in that way. And now I do. And And I've been so clear about why I was doing it, why I've always done this, and why I've stuck to it. And it helps you to show up for yourself again and again. So think about what it means to you. Like, what do you want to see for yourself? Why might you want to step onto this path of sort of self-development and realization and all the other stuff that comes with it? So if you do join up for the course, try and have that clear for yourself for next week when you come along. Okay, hopefully you can all still see me. I'm still talking to a sorry we're having trouble playing this video sign. So next bit, what are we going to do on this course? Oh, what are we going to do on this course? It's going to be fun. So we're going to look more in depth at what is mindfulness, the science behind it. We're going to look at our relationships to our thoughts and feelings, recognizing that we are not our thoughts and feelings. These are temporary mind activity that comes and goes, and we are separate from that. So we're learning to detach, and we're learning to observe instead of absorb. Another little thing on that, when we shift from being the anger or the fear or the sadness, to knowing we have it in our energy field, but we're not it. We have it in our experience, we're not it. It's such a big shift. We still have to feel it, you know, we're humans, we're going to have to feel that stuff sometimes. But to know that, to truly know it will pass, and to truly know that it's not who we are, and it will pass, is very freeing. And I can't wait for you all to experience that if you've not already. So we're going to look at the inner critic. We've all got one, and we're going to learn about our inner critic. Again, understanding is everything. There's a wonderful teacher called Anthony de Mello. I love him. And he talks about, once you understand yourself fully, then the suffering just goes away. Because it's that we don't understand things, so we resist it, we argue it, we fight it, and therefore it persists. So when we understand it, we can, you know, some of the stuff's going to stay with us, and we just understand it, and it doesn't have that power over us because we understand it, truly understand it. So we're going to learn to understand our inner critic so that it can't have so much power over us, and learn to be kinder to ourselves. We're going to look into judgments and expectations, and how ultimately it's those judgments on ourselves and others, our expectations, that cause a hell of a lot of conflict in our relationships, and a hell of a lot of unhappiness, more so than that other person or the situation. It's our own expectations and judgments. So we're going to look into that. It's really interesting. And how we can learn to be more loving in our relationships rather than so reactive. So less reactive, more mindful, more compassionate to others. We're going to look at how we can cultivate a happy and fulfilled mindset by looking at gratitude and working out how we can bring a gratitude practice. Now, gratitude is a game changer. It sounds so small, and yet it has the biggest effect ever. I would advise you all to start a gratitude list right tonight when you get in bed, straight away, and start shifting that mindset away from lack, away from what we haven't got, away from how rubbish everything is, to what we have got, and just see how the energy shifts and what changes come from that. So we're doing a lot on gratitude. The wanting mind, one of my favourite things to look into, really interesting. How a wanting mind is operating, what emotions are coming from that, what suffering is coming from that, and how we can learn to tame our wanting mind. Some techniques into how we can stop overthinking, and also looking into our beliefs. So when we're experiencing strong negative emotion, we're often believing something that isn't true. And there are techniques that you can use. There are investigation techniques that you can use alongside mindfulness to sort of call out these false beliefs that are causing us so much suffering. And it's only through questioning and intervening that we can do this, okay? And it's quite that in itself. This is how we change as well. Everything out there is what we believe. We've got a part of our brain that literally looks for things to support our belief system. So if we've got rubbish beliefs, if we've got negative beliefs, we've got a little mate in our brain that's looking round and trying to prove our belief system right. And then we think it's right. So it's a vicious circle. So we want to really, unravel as well those beliefs that are holding us back, those beliefs that are keeping us thinking we're not good enough, or we can't do this, we're limiting ourselves. And that's one of my favourite things to talk about as well. So in a nutshell, that's what we're sort of going to be looking at. And in the last week, we're going to have an option to personalise it a little bit. So if there's something that that's your thing that you'd really like to talk about, that you're struggling with, I'm going to get that feedback, and I'm going to tailor the last week to try and help you on a personal level as well. So we have got absolutely loads to do over the next 6 weeks, and I really hope that you'll sign up, that you'll join me, and we can get this online mindfulness off the ground, because who knows when we're going to be back outside the cave. I love teaching face to face. But the Zoom, we can interact on Zoom, we can talk, you've got a chat box, we can talk, we can share if you want to. There's never any pressure to share anything. You can just listen and learn. But yeah, so I think really that's all I was going to sort of say this evening. And I did say that I'd do a little short meditation with you if you wanted, just a few minutes of observing instead of absorbing, just creating that space between you and what arises in your experience. So I'm going to do that, but first I'm just going to have a little look through the comments and get some more comments in now if you want any questions or anything. So I'm just going to have a scroll up. It's so weird not being able to see myself. I just feel like I'm just talking. Don't feel like I'm on a video. Oh, technology, eh? Technology. So I see, so Daniel, you said about it being hard, being in the moment. It's hard. It's simple, but it's not easy, because our mind has got such momentum and it's so used to being past, future based. So it's a practice, and we need to bring a lot of kindness and encouragement and gentleness to this practice, which we're going to talk about. So just having that acceptance of ourselves and our experience and where we're at is really important, in order for us to become more mindful, to become more present. Walking, yeah, mindful walks, we're going to talk about that as well. Nature is a great way, and what's really important as well is be mindful in the pleasant moments of your life. Okay, don't just wait for the challenges and then try and be all mindful. Build up to it. Be mindful in every moment. When you're out in nature, really try and just look and listen and feel, and when you're doing the pots, when you're doing your little tasks, do one thing at a time. Try and put your full attention and notice when you've gone off. And this practice, when it's easier, will prepare you for when you do have those challenges. You're building your mindfulness muscle. You're building it up. Don't wait for the hard times. Do it in those more pleasant moments, more easy moments of your life as well. So yeah, walking, great. I love being outside. It's my favourite thing. Oh my God, Tara, I'm coming to Athens to walk with you right now. Yeah. And Daniel as well, it's always going to be, every experience is individual. So although I'm teaching this generally, I'm well aware that everybody's mind is different, everybody's perspective, belief systems. We are all individuals, and we need to find what works for us. And this is why I don't like to do sort of just a one fit approach for everybody, because it's not the case. Okay, we've got to find what works for us, and your heart knows. Okay, your gut knows, your heart knows. Just if we can get quiet enough and get still enough and create enough space, we will have that inner guidance and that inner resilience to help us. So yeah, I know it can be difficult, and especially if we've got extra stuff going on that we're trying to deal with. Attend and befriend, is that Tara Brack? Tara? I love that. I love Tara Brack. She's a brilliant teacher you could be listening to. Yeah. Yeah. And Chloe, thanks for that comment. This is sort of where I was at, the way I was thinking, and the lack of sort of self-love that I had. I was self-destructive. I couldn't handle my emotions, and it was affecting my relationships. And I understand completely. You feel like you're at the mercy of it. You can't do anything about it. And then this is where this stuff sort of saved my life and changed everything, because it gave me my power back. And I use psychology along this as well. So, you know, I learned about my psychology. I think spirituality and psychology together is beautiful, and it needs to be there. We need to have an understanding of our own stuff, why we're behaving the way we do, what underlying stuff have we got going on. Learn to understand that, use practices for that, and also use the spiritual practices of acceptance and letting go as well. So yeah, it does. It affects everything. Our inner world needs to take priority over everything. We're never going to be able to get everything out there to behave the way we need it to feel safe, secure, and okay. So we need to scrap that idea, turn it inwards, show up for ourselves, and take responsibility for our own stuff. And there's so much help out there. You just got to find the right thing for you, and if you're looking, the universe will deliver. Yeah, just sitting with your own thoughts. Yeah, you wouldn't, Danielle. I know. I remember the early days. I remember the early days. Yeah. And Lucy, relationship anxiety. Wowza, this was mine. That was it. I can speak to you some some about that, but I'd advise. Oh, the ball blew. I'd advise looking into attachment styles first of all to understand what your own attachment style is. If it's anxiety, we usually need to learn how to self-soothe, how to understand that we're safe now. It's a emotional response. Our nervous system doesn't feel safe, but as the adult, we know that we are, and it's about connecting to that adult more and learning to soothe that emotional part of the nervous system that still doesn't feel safe in these situations. So that was basically what I was working on for a long time, and I can tell you I have no relationship anxiety. So and I never thought that would happen ever, to be honest with you, and it just feels so peaceful. But it's because I learned about my attachment styles and how to heal myself and how to trust other people and know I'd be all right, even if they, you know, couldn't be trusted, and I'd still be all right no matter what. So it's that inner resilience that comes through the work you do on yourself. Okay, so I don't want to keep you up. I don't know how many. There's a few more here. I don't know how many people's even still here because I'm just on a blank screen. You're probably all gone. Probably all gone now. I'm just chatting to myself. Why? Yes, Tara. Why? That's the only time I like people to ask why. Why am I doing this? Then that's it. Never ask why do I feel like this or why does this happen to me? But why do I want to do this? Why is this important for me to be here, to show up, to do this? Overthinking, we're going to look at overthinking. Yeah, we're going to look. Overthinking is just, a lot of people are dealing with that, and we're going to look at some of those techniques we can use to stay present and disconnect from that. Yeah, healthy relationships. Oh, I might do a course on relationships. I've wanted to do one for ages. It's because I do 2 weeks of relationship stuff on the 9-week course. I, it's what my sort of main practice has been. My main work has had to be around. So I'd love to do a course on creating healthy relationships, definitely. Gratitude. Oh, brilliant. I'm glad you're doing your gratitude list, Kirsty. Brill. No, simplicity isn't simple. I like that. It's not. It's simple, but it's definitely not easy. It's something we need to practice. What we practice grows stronger, definitely. Over time, you'll see the changes. Just it takes a bit of discipline. And Eckhart Tolle says he did a speech once, and there was a whole load of people, and he said, I know a load of you, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what is he going on about? Why am I here? And he's like, that's okay, you can go. He says, you'll be back in a few more years, after a few more years of suffering. And it's kind of that. It's like when we've had enough, when we've had enough of the mind, when we've had enough of how all this mind activity is making us feel, we are willing to put in the graft. We're willing to put in the effort and the self-discipline to make changes. And that's sort of, when the time is right, divine timing, when we're ready, it will be here for us to do. So let's meditate. Hopefully you're all still there. I might look on my phone to see how many people are still, if there's people here. Say hi if you are. I don't know what happened to this video. Okay, I think there's still people. So, we are just going to sit and we're going to take a couple of minutes just to settle in, just to get a feel of what it's like to sit and to just be still, be quiet, and observe our experience for a little while. Okay, so sit comfortably, have your back nice and straight, relax the shoulders down. And if you're comfortable, close the eyes, but don't worry if not. If not, just sort of soften your gaze down nice and softly. And firstly, just start to pay attention at different weight points of the body. So feel the sort of weight of the feet on the floor and weight of your bottom on the chair or wherever you're sitting. And let the shoulders relax. And then just start to take a slow inhale. So just slowing down that inhale. And a slow exhale, slowing it down. Just repeat that a couple more times. Nice and slow on the inhale. Nice and slow on the exhale. Just notice where you can feel the breath the most. So it might be at the belly, it might be at the chest, or it might be at the nose. And just choose one of those spots to focus on. And just stay with that for the next couple of minutes. So you might watch the belly rise on the inhale, fall on the exhale. You might feel the air in at the tip of the nose. And just watching. Now as you watch the breath, try and get interested in the breath. Make sure the breath is comfortable. Make it a little gentler if it needs to be, a little softer, just so it feels nice. If we want our mind to want to stay with the breath, then it's useful to breathe in a way that feels comfortable and nice and pleasant. know the mind likes pleasure. Let's just stick with the pleasure. And if anything arises, which it will, any thoughts, any feelings, sensations, we're just going to label it. So we're going to give it a label of thought, feeling, sensation, whatever it might be, and then come back to that flow of the breath. Nice, slow breath, comfortable, easy breath. And we're just labeling, we're not giving a judgment on it, we're not feeding it, we're not analysing it. We're just labeling thoughts, feeling, and then returning to the breath. It's very important that we allow our experience to be what it is. So even if it's a bit messy, a bit uncomfortable, that's okay. There's no right or wrong experience. And if you feel like you're resisting your experience of this a little bit, just try and use the mantra, I allow everything to be as it is. Just if you feel any resistance come to the meditation practice. I allow everything to be as it is. And just let those words soften the energy around you. Okay. Now we're just gonna, if you want to, you can just stay with your meditation, with your stillness, just relax. Or otherwise, we're just going to come back to those weight points again. So just noticing again the weight of your feet, the weight of your bottom, the weight of your hands resting in your lap. And then just take a conscious, slow breath in again. And as you exhale, just let the eyes open. So just short and sweet, just checking in. Bit of stillness. We'll learn different meditation techniques on the course, and try and bring that regular practice in. So the meditation is really important part of mindfulness. So we can know things on an intellectual level, but we need to learn to be present and sit with ourselves, sit with our thoughts, and attend and befriend, as Tara said. So I'm going to let you go because I know we've been, I didn't expect it to be as long as this. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for the comments. And if you do decide to come on to the course, next week starts next Tuesday, give me a message and let me know. So thank you very much everybody, and night. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you soon.